in the Cosmic Crown Showdown, and I think that this is a legit list, and I'm having some great success with it. What I'm considering here is one less Crow Feather main, one more Dreamweaver Ancient main, and switch one of the Dreamweaver from the reserves with a Crow Feather, and something like that. The other thing is that Ratwood Master Moss is great, but it's 4 cost. There's a lot of decks that run, Flight Troops, or really, a lot of aggressive decks like the Boat Crusaders deck. So what I was thinking is that maybe we go with Hierophant with +2 defense and Skyguard and Steadfast. That would be a very strong wall, and we can follow it up with other things. But so far, I really like Master Moss just because of the amount of blood decks that are running in the format, in the ladder at this point. There's a lot of hero falls. There's a lot of removal overall, and this is 4 cost, so it does a lot of things. But Hierophant would be able to block vampires with the Skyguard and Spell Shield, Skyguard and 2 defense gem. It can, at 3 costs it could block a Vampire King without dying, so that's very, very relevant. Maybe we want to trade the Master Mosses for Hierophants, but I'm still not sure. Or maybe we cut one of these, one of each. But Trickster and Night Singer of Ages on turn 2 are so important that I think we're going to go like that. Just go 2 Ancients main, 2 Crowfeather main. There's a lot of utility in this list, but we're only running 3 removal main. But we do have 3 Buccaneers and 2 Zodiac Crowfeather and 3, so that's like 3, 6, 8, 11 ways to interact with the opponent's troop, and even 10 with the Master Polymorph Dingler. So resource base is a bit I'm from Quebec, Canada, so this is a French-Canadian accent. Alright, and the resource base, we're running 14 sources of diamond, and we're running it's 4, 8, we're running 8, 9, 13, 13 sources of sapphire, 13 sources of wild. So this is a weird mix, but it works. We got a lot of ways to get the thresholds that we need. So 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. 17 sapphire, 17 wild, 14 diamond. So that gives a lot of flexibility here. I wouldn't say, that's not European French. That's a whole different thing here. French Canadian. We're just very close to a lot of people talking English on the west, before the Canadian border with the province, and we also have the United States just below, and that makes it for a lot of Anglicism in the French language that we speak. So it's a lot closer to actual English than, say, European French would be. And also, I just work in English, and I work with people around the globe, so I kind of have an international English accent in the mix as well. This is where it's coming from. Windsinger, hey, morning, Sticky. Windsinger, the list at some point had Windsinger. But I traded them with Dreamweaver Enchant, and they're just better. At what I want to be, this is a mid-range deck that wants to be, proactive, right? Present a threat, present a threat, present a threat. What I found is that Windsinger was is great when you have an attrition match, very long game. You want the card advantage to grind the opponent out, but if you can't protect Windsinger, it becomes a lot worse because it's just 6 cost. It dies, right? It doesn't come into play and affect the board immediately. If you look at the list, the only cards that I have, the only cards that I have that doesn't affect the board immediately when they come into play in terms of troops are Tricksters and Master Moss. The rest all have come into play or pseudo come into play effect, so immediate effect. And although Windsinger was drawing a card when you played it, when you're playing against Blood, there's no way. Right now, there's so many removal in the format that even with one interrupt in hand, often Windsinger would just die. So Dreamweaver is extremely good against Extinction. So this deck usually plays a few small threats, and normally the opponent doesn't really Extinction on 4, but 4, 5, 6 they Extinction, and as soon as they Extinction, you follow it up with a Dreamweaver Enchant that creates a 4-drop, and all of a sudden they need another Extinction right away. And usually that's how you get the Blood decks with this list. I love Trickster. I gotta say, I love Trickster. I know a good portion of my teammates are not as high on Trickster, but it did perform very well for me so far. And in a proactive list that present threats, it just helped, putting pressure on the opponent. If I play Trickster on 2, all of a sudden they might just lose their key play on the next few turns. And usually if I'm putting any pressure and they lose their key play, they just lose the game. Yeah, it has a flight jump, and also even mid game. Usually mid game you don't have a lot of cards in your hand, and maybe you're just holding out a removal or a key troop, a higher costed troop that you can play right now. And when I play a Trickster mid game, usually if they have a removal, they have to use it on the Trickster, or they lose either the removal or their big play. So it's a must kill, and I would say that from experience right now, although this is a small sample of games that I've played, maybe 10, 12 with iterations of this list, Trickster is a higher priority kill than Mightsinger of Ages in most games. This is to tell you our Trickster is right now. It might not be in the future, and it might just be that it's a small sample of games. But right now I love Trickster. I just love it. It works really well. I do need to work with the reserves. Blood decks tends to run a lot of constants, and there's a lot of Zorat in the meta, and there will be more once we review the deck list from the CCS. So I wanted to have at least 4 ways to deal with constants, and since we're facing multiple constants, I like Wind of Change here. It doesn't destroy artifacts, but it's really constants that you want to destroy, and we still have 2 chunk puzzlers for this. Depending on what we face, more flight troops / crow feather is always great. If we're playing against blood decks, we're setting in more Dreamweavers, Price Falls, or mainly for the big wild decks. We also, for the control decks, will bring in Verdicts to just deal with all the removal and the counter magics there are. And I was also running 2 Soothing Breezes, but I don't think we'll be facing that many utils, and we still have a decent way to pressure up on an early game and some ways to gain health. So I think right now I'm gonna make the conscious decision to not run Breeze and go with 4 Verdicts. That really tends to screw the blood decks as well, and the Ruby Sapphire control decks. That helps a lot. Even against the diamond aggressive decks, they do play a lot of removal, and it's a lot of void. So I think I like Verdict a lot in there. And there's a lot of the reason I'm not running alt right now is that there's too many basic action removal that is extremely good. There's Bring to Justice, Clash of Steel, Extinction. There's a bunch of things, right, that are not quick actions that you might want to interrupt. So I'm not bringing alt, but alt is more if you're already playing a lot of interrupts and you're fighting against another deck that runs interrupts, you want alt to just trump their interrupt at very lower cost. But this is my personal list. It's a ton of fun. I highly encourage you to run it if you can afford the cards. It's not a cheap list by any stretch, but it's a fun list, and I really love it. I mean, a Might Singer of Ages, they fetch most likely 1k each. Dreamweavers are likely around a 1k each, so that's like $80 just right there. Master Moss fetch a bunch. Krakosaurs. It's all, a lot of pricey cards in there. So, and if you look at the platinum, I add a lot of platinum and I don't have a lot, so this is where this is coming from. At some point I was running Hero of Legions instead of Buccaneer, but really just want to make sure that I'm able to stabilize the game for turn 4 or 5, and this is where the Buccaneers are really, really good. You side them out a decent amount of matchups here, just to bring in more Adjudicator, Crowfeather, kind of the sort if you need to. But let's try another round with this list, see what happens. But I do like this list a lot. Let's just prep the notes real quick before we do that. I'm going to update the stream notes with the deck list once we're done. Of course, this one has been in constant iteration so far, and it's a ton of fun. So lots of proactive plays, answer a lot of things. You can grind people out a lot. I was able to grind to time a Megbumbus player with Mad Robomancer recursion. So that has a lot of power here. If you have any suggestion on how to improve the list, if you play with it and have you're doing modifications, let me know.